Alright guys, welcome back to another video where we're downstairs in the basement slash fish room again. And today we're going to show you the creation and something a little different that we're attempting on this new 20-gallon planter tank. But real quick, we'll show you some of the fish in the 125. Little star sapphire is looking awesome recently. Really chipping up, probably about 4 inches right now I'd say. So really happy with him. Fish room's coming together nicely. Hopefully get that hang on the back filter out of there eventually. Just waiting for the sponge filters to cycle. 125 still looking immaculate, but let's get on with the video. So 20-gallon tank, we're using ADA Amazonia 2 as a substrate, and as you can see we've just completed the hardscape for the most part, at least the main pieces. We're going for a kind of iwagumi look, but also we're going to have some higher plants in there, especially toward the back right, but we're using this lighting diffuser just to help add a little bit of height to the scape, and overall I think that's going to work really well, and it'll also save me some substrate, which is always a bonus, as that ADA substrate isn't too cheap, but I've had a lot of success with the other planter tanks, so really wanted to use it again. We've got the Finex 24/7 light fixture, and I'm really liking that. I think the colours it puts out is awesome. And here's the scape once we've added the ADA Amazonia, and we've also added some smaller rocks just to give it more of a sense of scale. And hopefully you can see what I'm envisioning here in terms of the carpet that we're going to have. A little mix of Monte Carlo and dwarf hairgrass, I would think. But here it is. Really liking how it looks, especially that center stone that's not quite in the center of the tank, so your eyes don't get drawn to it too much, but I really like it. And I think it's going to look awesome once we get it filled. But first we're going to run through what aquarium hobbyists call the dry start method. So let's take a look at that. So the things you're going to need if you wanted to do the dry start method yourself is some cling film that you're going to wrap the tank in, some dechlorinator, and for this I'm using Fritz Complete, a spray bottle, and then of course the tank and everything else that you've already set up. I'm going to take a few plants from down here just to experiment with them. So we've got some S. repens down there, and I also might experiment with the Bacopa that I've got in there as well, and also some dwarf hairgrass and Monte Carlo that I've got in the upstairs planter tank. So first things first, we're going to spray the tank. Make sure it's nice and moist, but from what I've read you don't want to quite make it a marshland, as that can promote algae. So just getting a nice thin coating of water on the surface of the substrate. Make sure the whole tank is covered. A little bit awkward just with the dimensions of this tank, but if you were to do a bigger project I'm sure you'd be fine. But spraying all that, and then we're going to get to planting. So as you can see, the tank is fully sprayed, meaning when we close it up, close the lid, the humidity from the water will be in there. Now we're gonna look at trimming some of the plants. We've got the dwarf hairgrass, we've got some S. repens that we're gonna experiment with, and we've got the stem plant that we're gonna be using. Stem plant probably won't work as good as the dwarf hairgrass, and I'll also be getting some Monte Carlo in there as well, so let's get some planting done. So here's the tank after we've planted the first initial portions. Got the stem plant in the back, S-Repen, and then the dwarf hairgrass that I actually planted first. We're also going to go to the aquarium store and get some Monte Carlo, just a portion of it. And then all we did, set up the light, put it on the 24/7 mode, put the cling film around the tank with the lid, make sure it's nice and tight. I've used some tape on there just to make sure it is. And then all we're going to do is just sit and wait, watch the humidity in the tank increase, and then hopefully watch these plants grow as there's more CO2 in the atmosphere now, seeing as the tank's not flooded, than what there normally would be. So dwarf hairgrass, S-Repens, and then the stem plant that might do good like this, might not. Time will tell. This is more of just an experiment. But we're going to go get some Monte Carlo, and then we'll check in maybe a week or two and see how it looks. And all we're going to do in the meantime is let it get some fresh air by opening the lid for about 20 to 30 minutes every day, then respray it before closing it back up. So as you can see, a few weeks later, the Monte Carlo, the dwarf hairgrass, is growing pretty nicely. And we've got a good solid spread from the one pot that we used. And it's grown pretty significantly in that time as well. You can see the humidity in the tank from all the water on the glass. And the little experiment in the back, which was the stem plants, is actually going pretty well as well, and they've grown a decent amount in the last few weeks. So that's the tank. We're going to fill it up pretty soon, and I'm really excited for this one, as we've actually got some Aquatech of California stuff that they sent me about a week and a half ago. So props to Aquatech of California for doing that. Really appreciate it. And we'll be doing some reviews and setting this thing up with some CO2. And that'll actually give us a high-tech planter tank and a low-tech planter tank. And there's some videos coming on this tank pretty soon. Really excited for what we've done on this tank. So be sure to check out the channel next week or the week after for a video on that. And I think you'll really like that video. I know I'm certainly excited about it. Additionally, if you haven't checked out our last video, which is 6 tips on growing out African cichlids, make sure you do. There's some awesome information in there, and I'm sure a lot of you African cichlid lovers would really find that video beneficial and useful. So check that out if you haven't already. But that's all we've got time for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave it a like, leave a comment down below what you think of the scape, what you think it's going to look like, or any plant suggestions that you think I should be using. Thanks a lot for watching, commenting, subscribing. We're nearly at 4,000. Love making these videos for you guys, and hopefully you're enjoying them as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on next week's video.